The Book of Judges tells a turbulent tale. Israelites, after entering the Promised Land, repeatedly stray from their covenant with God. They face consequences, oppression from neighboring tribes. This period, between Joshua's death and the establishment of kings, is marked by cycles of sin, punishment, repentance, and deliverance. It is in these desperate times that God raises up extraordinary individuals, the judges. These judges, often flawed and human, become instruments of God's justice and mercy. Deborah, a wise prophetess, rallies her people against the Canaanite threat. Gideon, initially fearful, overcomes his doubts to free Israel from Midianite oppression. Samson, blessed with incredible strength, battles the Philistines. Their stories, woven into the fabric of the Book of Judges, offer timeless lessons about faith, courage, and the consequences of straying from God's path. The Book of Judges is not just a historical record, it is a mirror reflecting human nature. It shows how easily people can be swayed from righteousness, and yet how God, in His infinite mercy, always provides a way back. Through the heroic deeds and moral struggles of the judges, we learn about our own capacity for both good and evil. We are reminded that even in the darkest of times, faith in God can lead to extraordinary acts of courage and redemption. Deborah stands out among the judges. Not only a judge, she is a prophetess, a woman chosen by God to deliver His word. Her wisdom and courage inspire the Israelites. She holds court under a palm tree, settling disputes and offering guidance. Deborah embodies wisdom, strength, and unwavering faith in God. At this time, Jabin, a Canaanite king, oppresses Israel with his powerful army led by Sisera. Deborah receives a divine call to action. God instructs her to summon Barak, a warrior, and promises victory against Sisera. Deborah, with unwavering faith, relays God's message to Barak. Barak, though courageous, hesitates. He asks Deborah to join him, recognizing her spiritual authority as essential to their success. Deborah agrees, but prophesies that the glory of victory will go to a woman. This prophecy underscores a crucial theme. God often chooses the unexpected to accomplish His will. Deborah and Barak lead the Israelite army against Sisera's forces. A fierce battle unfolds near the river Kishon. As Deborah prophesied, God grants Israel a decisive victory. The Canaanite army is routed and Sisera flees on foot. The climax of this story involves another courageous woman, Jael. Sisera seeks refuge in Jael's tent, expecting hospitality. Jael welcomes him, offering him milk and a place to rest. However, as Sisera sleeps, Jael seizes her opportunity. With a tent peg and a hammer, she delivers a fatal blow, fulfilling Deborah's prophecy. The victory is celebrated in a song, the Song of Deborah, one of the oldest surviving examples of Hebrew poetry. This song recounts the events, praising God's power and the bravery of those who fought for freedom. The Song of Deborah serves as a testament to God's faithfulness and the courage of individuals who answer His call. Gideon's story is a testament to God's power to transform fear into unwavering faith. Gideon, a man from a humble background, initially doubts his ability to lead. When the angel of the Lord appears to Gideon, calling him a mighty warrior, Gideon questions this assessment. At this time, the Israelites are suffering under the brutal oppression of the Midianites. Gideon is threshing wheat in secret, hiding from the Midianites, when the angel of the Lord appears to him. The angel conveys God's message. Gideon is chosen to deliver Israel. Gideon, though afraid, asks for a sign. This request leads to the famous story of Gideon's fleece. He lays out a fleece of wool, asking God to make it wet with dew while the ground remains dry. God grants his request. Gideon, still uncertain, asks for a second sign, the fleece dry while the ground is wet with dew. Again, God obliges. Section 5. A test of faith, Gideon's fleece. The story of Gideon's fleece is a powerful illustration of how God patiently responds to human doubt. Gideon's requests for signs, while seemingly insignificant, reveal his deep-seated fear and insecurity. God, in His infinite patience, does not rebuke Gideon for his lack of faith. Instead, He provides the reassurance Gideon needs. Gideon, finally convinced of God's calling, assembles an army. However, God instructs him to reduce the size of his army significantly. This instruction might seem counterintuitive, but it serves a crucial purpose. It highlights that victory doesn't depend on human strength or numbers, but on God's power. With a small but dedicated force, Gideon launches a surprise attack on the Midianite camp. The Midianites, caught off guard, panic and turn on each other. The victory is decisive, and Israel is freed from their oppression. Gideon's story reminds us that even with our doubts and fears, God can use us for extraordinary purposes. Section 6. Samson, blessed with extraordinary strength. Samson's story is a captivating blend of extraordinary strength, moral complexities and tragic consequences. Samson is a Nazirite set apart from birth and blessed by God with superhuman strength. However, this strength is directly tied to his adherence to the Nazirite vow, which includes never cutting his hair. Samson's life is marked by impulsive actions driven by his desires. He falls for a Philistine woman going against his parents' wishes. This decision sets in motion a chain of events that lead to conflict with the Philistines. Samson's great strength becomes evident in his encounters with lions, foxes, and the Philistine army. Despite his strength and victories, Samson is undone by his weakness for Philistine women. He falls in love with Delilah, a Philistine woman who becomes his downfall. The Philistines, aware of Samson's secret, bribe Delilah to uncover the source of his strength. Section 7. The Fall of Samson. A lesson in temptation. Delilah, motivated by greed, relentlessly pursues Samson's secret. He initially resists her inquiries, providing false explanations for his strength. However, worn down by her persistence and blinded by his love for her, Samson succumbs to temptation. He reveals his secret. His strength lies in his uncut hair. With Samson's secret revealed, Delilah betrays him. She summons the Philistines, who shave his head while he sleeps. Samson, shorn of his strength, is captured, blinded, and imprisoned. His fall from grace serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of temptation and the consequences of succumbing to our weaknesses. Even in his defeat, Samson's story offers a glimmer of redemption. Imprisoned and blinded, Samson repents of his sins and prays for strength one last time. God hears his prayer. As the Philistines hold a festival in their temple, Samson is brought out to entertain them. Section 8. Conclusion. Enduring lessons from the Book of Judges. The Book of Judges concludes with Samson's final act of defiance. He pushes against the pillars of the Philistine temple, bringing the entire structure crashing down upon himself and his enemies. In death, Samson fulfills his destiny, delivering Israel from their oppressors. His story, though tragic, underscores the enduring power of repentance and God's willingness to grant second chances. The Book of Judges, through its captivating tales of heroism, faith, betrayal and redemption, offers profound lessons for all time. It reminds us that God can use anyone, even those with flaws and weaknesses, to accomplish his purposes. It highlights the importance of remaining faithful to God's covenant, warning against the dangers of idolatry and straying from his path. The stories of Deborah, Gideon, Samson, and the other judges serve as powerful reminders of God's enduring presence in the lives of his people. They teach us about the cyclical nature of sin and redemption, the consequences of our choices, and the unwavering faithfulness of a God who never abandons his own. These stories, passed down through generations, continue to inspire, challenge, and offer hope to those who seek guidance and meaning in their own lives.